everybody, Kyle Sasser here with BizTweaks, and today you might notice I got a little bit of a mess back there in the back. I actually had a local event where I had a mountain biking outing, which is always a lot of fun. We went over and mountain biked for about an hour and a half. I can only do so much of that. I am almost 40 years old. So I can't be bombing off jumps and trails all day long, but I do like to go over there and get the heart pumping a little bit, mainly through the exercise more so than taking on dangerous tasks. So today I was thinking about a good friend of mine, because it's about time for a haircut for me. So I was thinking about a good friend of mine who is one of the better hairstylists in the area. To me, one of the best, and most of the other people I know that go to him agree with that sentiment, so it's not just me. So I was thinking today about him and how he could build and ramp up his his hairstylist business. So the one thing that everyone always points to is Instagram. Post pictures of hairstyles on Instagram, hashtag it up, get in front of as many people, and that's great for brand awareness and maybe a little bit of new customers. So it's not as easy as everyone thinks it is to, you can't just post a hairstyle on Instagram and expect your book to be completely filled with new business. It doesn't work that way. And in any business, hairstylist, pest control, restaurant, you have three options to make more money. You can get more customers, you can sell more to those customers in a single order, and you can sell more frequently to those customers. So those are your three options to increase revenue. The problem that hairstylists, pest control, and a lot of small businesses have is that you only have so many hours of the day. And as much as people like to post, hashtag grind it and all that garbage, the simple fact of the matter is there is only so many hours in the day that you can work. So you need to leverage that time as much as possible. So, sure, absolutely take pictures, post it on Instagram. Don't expect a ton of new business to come in from it. People are going to find you, and you will get some business that way, but it's not an instant turnkey like people love it. The main way, and so I'm also in real estate, and it's basically the same thing. I can post a picture of a house, my phone does not blow up with people dying to have me sell or buy a home for them. So the main way that people choose doctors, dentists, anything that's honestly, the main way people choose anything, but especially something that is either tremendously expensive, like a house, or extremely personal, like a doctor, dentist, or a hairstylist, say, because it is it does grow back, but you are stuck with it for a while, and nothing is worse than a bad haircut. I've had a few in my day. Is referrals. So, and I know that most of the hairstylists I know, they've been of the more artistic slant than the business-minded slant, which is perfectly fine. It's absolutely an art, and I do absolutely agree with that. Cutting hair is a skill, but to do it very well is honestly an art form. Because it's not just the day that it's cut, it's also how it's going to grow in and all that. I'm looking a little rough right now. But, so the way he cuts my hair, it doesn't just look good that day, it looks good that day, and then 3 weeks later, and then, maybe even a month and a half later when it's grown in quite a bit more. It still looks put together. And that, to me, that's kind of the true indication of an art, is you can kind of visualize all that stuff. So referrals. Now, being artists, a lot of times artists don't like to ask for the sale quite so much. They think it's a little too salesy, a little too pushy. I have one question for hairstylists. Would you say that your customers love you? I've like everything I know about hairstylists and hair salons, even barbershops, is people really like their guy or girl. They have one person they go to if they are thinking about changing it, if it feels like they're breaking up with somebody. So when you have that sort of, and as a realtor, I don't have that relationship. Like, I would love to have that relationship, but it's hard to build because I don't have that regular contact. As a hairstylist, you have that regular contact with people. Every month or 2 or 3, these people are coming in, sitting down in front of you for, 15 minutes to a few hours. And you're having this conversation, how's it going, getting caught up on life. And, I mean, it's transactional because they are paying you for this. But it's one of the more personal business relationships out there. So, absolutely do not be afraid to ask for referrals from your current client. Now, this is especially if like you're new and trying to build up a book of business. So, absolutely ask for referrals. Now, once you get your book of business built, then it's all about keeping it filled and then maximizing the returns on that. So, one of the other things you can do, one of the things my friend does not do, is ask for the next appointment at the current appointment. So, as a realtor or in any of my business meetings, I never end a appointment or a meeting open-ended. I'm like, when are we next going to talk? A lot of times I don't even ask. I'm just like, hey, I'll see you I'm penciling you in on my calendar 3 weeks from now. I'll talk to you then. As a stylist, one of the more challenging parts of the job a lot of times is getting things scheduled with clients, coordinating calendars and all that stuff. And a tool that you can use to make that easy is, well, there's 2 of them. So if you want to get real deep into it and set up the additional campaigns that I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes, you need a full-fledged CRM system. Personally, I use VTiger, and that allows me to, and I'll put a link up to that below, and that allows me to basically effortlessly keep in contact with my customers. It sends them automated emails. It tells me how responsive they're being. More importantly, so far as the calendar thing goes, it actually allows me to send them my calendar with the open appointments, and then they can pick whatever time works best for them. So that's a real easy way to book appointments. It makes them feel great because they're choosing the time that works best for them. And, it saves you a lot of that, well, how's 6:30? No, 6:30 doesn't work for me. What about next Tuesday? No, I got a spaghetti dinner with Grandpa on that day. So, and that's just a waste. It's like that back and forth. You're going to do that thousands of times a year, and that's a waste of time. So best to eliminate all that, streamline that process, make yourself look more professional in the process, and just make everyone's life a lot easier. So get some sort of calendar scheduling program. If you don't want VTiger, which is, like I said, a full-fledged CRM where you can keep track of people's names, addresses, what they've bought previously, when was the last time you talked to them, and integrate it with your email marketing campaigns where you can send them promotions or referral requests, then another good option is Calendly, which is relatively inexpensive. I think it's like last I checked, I think it was like $5 or $6 a month, something like that. So I'll put a link to that down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the other thing you can do, now I know a lot of stylists a lot of times don't get a percentage of products sold. If you do get a percentage, then you definitely need to set up some method of leveraging that in your business. And with all of this stuff, you're not going to recommend something just to recommend something, because that's your credibility is going to go way downhill. People aren't going to trust you. No. So you only want to recommend stuff that actually. So you only want to. I feel like I'm getting a big reflection here. So you only want to recommend stuff that you do actually 100% believe in. Otherwise, your credibility is going to be shot, and no one will ever trust you. It's kind of like letting somebody leave with a really horrible haircut, and you tell them how awesome it looks, and then all of their friends are like, "Oh no, no, that looks horrible." So always maintain your credibility and integrity. It's not worth it for a few bucks. That exchange is not worth it. And like I said, these people trust you. They want referrals. If one of your best friends or favorite client or whatever, if one of them referred you to a restaurant, you would give some credence to what they were saying. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, I know this guy really well. I trust his opinion. He's telling me that this restaurant's awesome. Maybe I should go try that restaurant. So it's a business relationship because you are getting paid to provide a service, but it is a more personal relationship. So you do have that trust and ability to make recommendations and to recommend products or anything else, so additional services that you think might be beneficial to them. But don't be afraid to do it. Like it's going to make your client look better. If it's not going to make your client look better, don't recommend it. So it's going to make your client look better. You're going to be helping them out. Why wouldn't you recommend it to them? So anyway, that's just what I was thinking about this morning. So as a hairstylist, 2 things you could do to make more business is to book the next appointment when you're at your current appointment. So just as you're checking out, just hey, when you want to come in next, let me put you down here to make sure that I have time. And you can shorten up the time because I know I go a little long, obviously. I know my hair goes a little long between cuts. So feel free to shorten them up a little bit. Now, obviously, if you try to get them every week, a lot of people would probably bristle at that. But, my normal cycle is usually about 6 weeks. I could probably do a little bit better if I came in every 4 weeks. So just throw a mention in there like that. Just be like, hey, when do you want to come in next? And if they're like, hey, I want to come in 8 weeks from now, I'll be like, well, your hair was pretty long and it's a little shaggy when you come in here. Why don't we put you at 6 weeks or 5 weeks? And then we'll see how it goes. If that's too short, then we can always extend it out. You could just give me a call and, I can move the appointment on, to a little bit later. No problem. It also shows that you're caring about them because you are actually giving thought to their appearance as a client, because they are kind of a representative of you and your work as well. So if their hair gets tremendously shaggy and doesn't look so great, and they're raving about their hairstylist, and people are looking at hair like, you're looking a little shaggy there, buddy. Anyway. So book your next appointment at your current appointment. That's also going to give you a better predictor and steady income, so you're not struggling a lot of times to fill dead space. You're going to have a lot of those blocks taken up already. And there's always, you don't have to book all day every day. You can leave spaces in there for new clients or things like that. But you do want that dependability. So booking that next client's appointment definitely smooths that out quite a bit. And then if you do have the ability, you can either recommend the products anyway, because customers love recommendations for products that are going to work for them. So that's always appreciated. And if you can make a few bucks off of it, so much the better. And yeah, if you can recommend additional treatments, maybe there's something that has a little bit better margin for you, feel free to recommend those services to them, as long as it's the right thing for them. Don't just recommend things just to boost revenue. It's so short term, even short term, it doesn't work very well, because most people can tell when they're being sold to. So don't do it. Only give honest recommendations. So anyway, my name's Kyle Sasser. This is BizTweaks, and BizTweaks, basically, I just give short little daily snippets like this to help out small business owners, try to earn more business, make more money. I also have the BizTweaks website, which I will drop below, where I provide more in-depth training for how to set up some of these marketing campaigns and automated email mailers, how to automatically convert more customers without you lifting a finger, other than the initial setup. And it's great because basically you set it up and it just sits there and it churns and churns and makes money. It's amazing stuff. So head on over to BizTweaks, get signed up there. We have forums, training classes, all sorts of great things. And I will be having an in-depth training boot camp for CRM systems, which I mentioned here, which is that fully integrated business management software. I do one of those a month, so I'll put that below. That's you don't have to pay anything up front for that, and it's a really in-depth course. It'll show you everything you need to know about using a CRM and how to leverage it in your business, and why you should have started using one 10 years ago. So anyway, I'm Kyle Sasser. Thanks for tuning in. Leave me a comment below. Be sure to subscribe, because I try to do these pretty frequently. And even if you're not a hairstylist, you could probably apply some of that information in your own business. So thanks for tuning in.